Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, University of Toronto. My name is Dr. Chirag Variao, and I have the pleasure and privilege of being the director of the first year curriculum and also a professor who you'll see in your first year experience, especially in courses like orientation engineering, computer programming, and a couple years down the road in a PhD course or two. So one thing that I wanted to mention before we just get started is that the TrackOne program here at the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering is very special. It's general, it's an undeclared program, so at the end of it you get to decide which program you want to get into in engineering. So it's particularly well suited for those who want to explore the different variety of offerings we have here and then figure out where you want to go a little bit later on. So this program is designed with you in mind, and let's get started. Here we are, I know, in a virtual environment. It's very different than being there in person. Trust me, I would love to be there in person answering your questions and getting to meet all of you, but here I am looking directly at a camera at the thousands of people watching this. So until we meet in person, I hope this will suffice, but we will keep in mind that all of the programming we have here in the faculty has been optimized for the time being for an online delivery. But as we move back to in-person, we're going to get fired up again, ready to do all those wonderful in-person experiments and laboratories and learning opportunities as we live and learn together. So without further ado, let's jump right into it with a bit of an introduction. And that is, again, welcome. There's a number of great things to do on and off campus. Here, let me just talk a little bit about what you're seeing here in terms of the images. On the corner here, you're seeing a few students put together a drone, and that's part of the University of Toronto aerospace team. And as you'll know, that there's lots of clubs and opportunities on campus. And even with an online delivery, many of these groups are still meeting and planning for what's going to happen when we do meet up in person again. They're actually sitting in the Bayhan Center for Information Technology, which is one of our newer buildings, and it's optimized for group learning with teaching enhanced active learning spaces. What that means is the desks are particularly designed for collaboration and so on. In an online setting, we try to bring together some of these active learning components so that students do work with each other as well as with their instructors and the teaching assistants without missing a beat. Up at the top here, you're going to see the school band. And it's quite interesting, you know, being the #1 school in the country, we have a lot of traditions and community building events that happen quite frequently. So that's the engineering band. You'll see them at social events and so on. It's a very lively place, I will tell you, at U of T Engineering. What you'll see right above me here, I'll drop down just a little bit here. It's the Nathan Phillips Square. So if you are an international student, or a student who is not in the Toronto area, you'll see that Toronto is a very vibrant place, a very inclusive and accessible place, and we're building on creating a more accessible climate for everybody as we move towards the end of this COVID-19. Anyways, that's my name here, Chirag Variawa. If you ever want to email me, feel free to do so. My email address is chirag, so my first name dot last name, Variawa, at utoronto.ca. Okie dokie, and you can only guess what it says right behind me. I don't necessarily have to repeat it because you all know what it is. So let's jump into the remainder of this presentation where we'll get some Q&A afterwards. So right now it's the fall season, the autumn season here in Toronto. It's a beautiful, beautiful site on campus. You can imagine yourself kind of walking through campus with all these colorful leaves and the feel of the crispiness in the air and so on. Many people, they think of Toronto and they're like, oh, it's a vibrant city. It is, but it's also vibrant in terms of the seasons. You get all 4 seasons. Very hot in the summer, cool and crispy in the winter with snow, and a wonderful spring and fall in between. So a great place, and you can just imagine yourself kind of in this space, walking around, studying. So many adventures you can have here. So many things to discover. So let's go right into the academic nature of things, okay, shall we? So engineering is a flexible degree. Essentially what that means is After completing an engineering degree, you can consider going into graduate school in a number of different areas. You can get into law school, you can do an MBA with some experience, you can do a master's or a PhD in engineering if you want to. You can go into med school, so medical school, and or law school even, actually. There are a number of my students who actually went on those routes and have been quite successful in the adventures that they've pursued thereafter. Anyways, it's a very transferable degree. Obviously, when you graduate from here, it's an accredited place, which means that it's very closely monitored by the Professional Engineers of Ontario and Engineers Canada to make sure that all that we teach is not just meets the expectations of engineering in Canada, but significantly exceeds the expectations for an engineering education. So every student who graduates from here will be able to write a ethics exam with the Professional Engineers of Ontario, and after some experience will be able to license themselves as a professional engineer. So what that means for those of you who are very interested in this particular matter is that next to your name you will have a BASC, so the Bachelor of Applied Science degree, which is a highly regarded degree, followed by a PEng. So you'll be a licensed engineer with that. So you can launch entrepreneurial endeavors and you can go off on a various number of pathways as you move forward. So here's a picture of some of the antics that our students are up to. All of our students actually have a wonderful experience kind of staying together and learning from each other and having some fun too. So in September, you'll be part of the orientation activities that happen. So every student gets it's a hard hat, and it's more of a symbolic gesture. You know, the upper year students decorate that a little bit later, but as you know, this one's kind of joking around a little bit to say, well, I'm in TrackOne, I can decide what specific program to get into a little bit later, which is fine. It's called Undeclared in other institutions, but here we call it TrackOne. So a little bit about our program. The Core 8 is what we call the core engineering programs here at the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. Engineering science is not part of the core. It's a little bit different, but at the end of those programs, you all get the same degree, anyways. So TrackOne is essentially kind of in the middle. You can choose any of these programs as you fulfill your requirements of the TrackOne program, going from computer, electrical, industrial, materials, mechanical, mineral, chemical, and civil. And you can specialize furthermore in each of these programs if you would like. You know, there are various minors and majors that you can choose to: artificial intelligence, biomaterials, and so on. So many different opportunities you can choose. TrackOne prevents an opportunity to kind of go into any of these programs at the end of your first year. So it's a highly transferable program, and you can explore all of these especially. I'll get to a little bit later, but what I'll say is the TrackOne also enables the student to sample all of these programs. So you'll have a course in electrical engineering, you'll have a computer programming course, you'll have an engineering design course, a materials course. So you get to explore all of these opportunities and make up your mind a little bit later on. And one of the great things about having a TrackOne cohort is that you're with people who are also making the decision or thinking about what decision to make as you move forward. Even though we have a general curriculum for all of our programs in the first year, TrackOne provides an opportunity to coalesce with those students who are also deciding what program to get into as you get into your upper year, which is different than those students who have already decided what program you want to get into. So that community feel is certainly very, very strong with the TrackOne. So as I mentioned, you know, they all take the foundational courses. Curriculum is actually similar, in this case the same as we move into 2021 for the Core 8 programs. You have some options in the second term of first year to choose between different varieties of computer programming, for example. So you can choose between a course that teaches in C or a course that teaches in Python. So you have that selection if you are a TrackOne student, which is why I say similar, not exactly the same, because you do have some decision-making power here as you get to the end of your first year. This program does create a seamless transition into your second year, irrespective of what program you're going into. The prerequisites are already set for you, so you have nothing to worry about in that regard. And every year there are approximately about 180 students who are admitted to TrackOne. And of course, guaranteed choice of Core 8 program. And my head is covering that number I know that you're looking for, so I'll get out of the way here, is above 60%. Okay, so with that being said, let's give you a sense of what the curriculum looks like. So very similar. Okay, Calculus 1 in first term, Calculus 2 in the second term of first year. You'll have engineering chemistry, material science. Engineering strategies and practice is your design, teamwork, and communication course. So that large course will be divided into teams of about 6 to 8 students, give or take. And together with other engineering students, you will solve real engineering problems with real engineering clients with support along the way. So it's a wonderful award-winning course, won so many awards, and you'll build on that in the second term. Linear algebra, obviously there will be math and science involved in the first year, but you're already good at that stuff, so no surprises there. Mechanics, it's a civil engineering course, forces and relationships therein. And then of course orientation to engineering. So you'll see me in that course quite frequently actually. I will be encouraging you to make use of the various resources we have in the faculty, introduce you to very notable alumni, champions across the engineering career pathways, introducing you to the Engineering Career Center for those of you who are considering the professional experience year, and so on. And so on. Hosting various panel conversations and interviews with various aspects of the engineering community. So I'll see you in that course, all of you. As we move to the winter term, it's really just taking the first year and first term and incorporating a lot more course content and various breadth and depth requirements too as we move on. So the opportunities to explore here is that as a TrackOne student, you have access to the engineering seminar. So that's in addition to the orientation engineering. Essentially what this does is it provides you an opportunity to create an informed decision at the end of your first term, at the end of your first year. And so these include conversations with upper year students from various departments, include conversations with your academic advisors, and really scaffolds the experience for each and every one of you. So there's also guest speakers and one-to-one program selection meetings with your advisor where you can really talk to an individual about your own personal goals and ways in which you can fulfill those goals and exceed those goals and move on to the next stage in your engineering education. So all of that is encapsulated and included as part of the TrackOne program. We are in a supportive environment, right? Whether it's online or in person, a significant amount of resources from a very, very large institution and very, very well-known institution. You can only imagine how the resources here can help support you in moving forward. So as you see yourself as part of the TrackOne community at the University of Toronto, you'll see that there's a number of different reasons why you should come and study with us. I'll start by saying that, when is the last time you actually saw a commercial for U of T engineering? Never happens, right? Because we are a very well-known institution. Our graduates are very, very successful. They speak for themselves. Our faculty are well-renowned and very respected across the world. Our educational endeavors are ranked in the top echelons of the world's institutions. And of course, it's not an easy feat to do all that. Our students are very hardworking. They persevere. They know how to make the world a better place. And of course, they know how to work together and independently on engineering challenges. So no problem is too challenging, especially if you have the education, the collaborative ability, and the drive and passion to solve them. And what we try to do is create a well-rounded experience for every student, where it's not only sitting and studying and writing tests and assessments and projects and labs all day, but it is also incorporating yourself in the wonderful community feel that we have at the University of Toronto and building on that. Fun fact, if anything, many years ago, I'm actually a graduate of U of T engineering myself. My undergraduate degree and my PhD are both from the University of Toronto. I did do a significant amount of work elsewhere in the world, but then I returned to the University of Toronto after actually teaching engineering in Boston to make sure that I'm giving back to the U of T community because I felt so strongly about it. One thing I may or may not talk about later on this in this presentation is that every engineering graduate will receive, after successful completion of your studies and so on, an iron ring. So this is why I'm kind of holding this up. And so you, as a student, will also get an iron ring. There's a lot of tradition behind this, and those of you who are very motivated students, I ask you to go look up the story of the iron ring, especially as it was initiated at the University of Toronto, as a reminder of our responsibility to public good. So, why at U of T? Well, it's a good question. Certainly, you can ask our students and our faculty and our staff and the very many graduates that we have here in wonderful positions. But I'll share with you just a few points here, and probably starting with the interdisciplinary approach to problem solving, gaining work experience, our incredible academic services, and of course our community. So everybody has a diverse set of goals, and we try to fulfill and support those goals as we move forward. We have a professional experience here, so it's called a co-op program, and so it's an optional program, so you don't have to take it. But after the third year of your undergraduate, there's a 12 to 16 month work opportunity, so you can go out there and perceive what the real world is like outside of the institution. And whether it's online or in person, the program has pivoted so that we are supporting all students in all of those programming requirements. So it's a very, very successful program. Of course, any salary that you earn during that co-op program is yours to keep. And of course, it's a good program to join. A number of our students actually join that, but you don't have to do it, especially if you're graduating, going into graduate school in a particular area. But it's a decision that you can make, right? Again, sorry, I'll get out of the way here, right? 4-month placement after year 2 if you want to. So some of the many lab spaces that we have on and off campus are usable by students. Does anyone know what this is, or a model of this is? It's a version of the Canadarm. Right? It's on the International Space Station. There's a opportunity for all of our students to gain some experience in learning through these wonderful collaborative opportunities. Okay. So engineering minors. What that means is that there are lots of pathways that students can choose, especially as you go through the upper years of your undergraduate program. Here are just a few examples, right? Nanoengineering, robotics and mechatronics, artificial intelligence, machine learning is a new one. And there's actually some very creative ones like music performance. So you can tie together some of your interests so that you really enjoy your learning experience here. Okay. Engineering design, leadership, entrepreneurship are core values that we strive to support in many ways here at the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. Leadership through, so personal leadership as well as collaborative leadership. Engineering design, we work with our community very closely. And of course, encouraging the entrepreneurial spirit. So maybe you don't want to go into graduate school, you want to start your own business or something along those lines. Certainly you'll be supported in all of those endeavors as well. We have the Engineering Hatchery, Hatchery, which you'll see a presentation of a little bit later on, or you can go ahead and check that out on our website. That will support startup companies in creating those really innovative ideas and supporting those ideas through to fruition as you move forward. Highly recommend it. Go check it out if you haven't already. Students, I think you'll find something very interesting there. So there are some student perspectives. Some of my students have come back. They still are in contact with me many years out, wanting to give back to the community and wanting to share their experiences. So we incorporate them as part of the learning experience. So we're always constantly improving, never resting on our laurels, as they say, right? Even though we're doing quite well, always strive for improvement. So as you see yourself on campus, reach out to us, ask some questions. We're here to answer them. We're here to work with you on this learning journey, right? It's one of those things that it's a big step in your life, students especially, and I guess parents too who are watching. But you'll see yourself as part of this wonderful, vibrant, passionate community who believes in academic excellence, personal excellence, and just really making the world a better place through an informed perspective. All right? So we wish to see you here. We look forward to seeing you here. I can't say how excited we are, because we are so looking forward to meeting you in person at some point, when it's safe. But until then, our conversations will be online, and that's fine too. So thank you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.